Sup, nerds?
Sup,
Hello.
nerd.
Alright, so you guys ready to do some tabletoppery? You guys ready to top some tables?
Top some
Certainly
tables.
Top all of my tables.
Yeah, I could say that I could go for some tabletopping.
It sounds a little ambivalent. Are you your heart's in it? Are you feeling it today? Mr.
It's hot.
Krabs.
I am trying so hard to stay on topic because every time we derail, this time no derails. We're just gonna play some straightforward
Yep.
Dungeons and
100%
Bloodwine.
straightforward Bloodwine. Not going to derail at all.
Not paying attention to how late we started because
Yeah.
we kept derailing.
Well, that was me getting it all out of my system.
Okay.
Sure.
Gotta get the purge. You gotta purge all the wacky, oh god, we can't say this on Twitch stuff. Not even because it's controversial, just because it's that's not a good show.
I beg to differ, but
It's not the type of show that we're doing.
I feel like that's not the type of show you're striving for here.
Yeah.
And
That's our
since that's the case, I don't know why you keep inviting me back.
Though we invite you back for the rare cases that we do podcasts, and we need that sort of derailment.
I see.
It's one of those things where if you weren't here, we would remain two on the rails, and then the show gets boring. We need,
I see.
the show needs to make me stressed out as a GM, and that's what fuels us. It's what
Right.
brings us together.
Right, I'm the kerosene.
It's what fuels the anger that makes me keep being mean to you.
Oh, well, that's
We
not
need
nice.
someone to derail the train sometimes.
I mean, historically trained. Shit, that's off topic. Quick, start the thing.
Are you saying it's clipboard time? Are
I'm
you
saying it's clipboard. I almost did a tangent. I almost went on a train tangent. So you better do the clipboard. Shit, now I'm tangenting about tangents.
I really like that this is how you're opening this up, because that actually is the exact same tone that this paragraph starts off in. So, Bloodwine, Blade River, Chapter 1, Palace goes, information. If you're building or fixing something and you do not have a tool you need, then you need the tool. You're missing a tool. If you could use another tool, you wouldn't be missing a tool, and you can't use the wrong tool. While Reggie was on his proving, Hennie was trying to get things in order. A way to kill the life drinkers, weaken them, stop them from regenerating. The corkboard was unchanged as it had been for the better half of Reggie's absence. Hennie took a sip of coffee. Not working. Staring at the corkboard while half asleep isn't productive, just mulling over her predicament. Hennie has a problem to solve. If you're solving a problem and you do not have the information you need, then you need information. You're missing information. If you could use other information, you wouldn't be missing information. And you can't use irrelevant information. The corkboard is breathing again. Red flag. Hennie needs a break. Reggie's got nothing to do, and Festin needs supplies, so let's take a trip into town. Welcome to Bloodwine. It's like the early morning, 10 a.m., 9 a.m.-ish. Everybody's up because you guys are early risers, but nothing's really happened yet. This is the day after your double bath, Reggie, post-proving.
I'm finally clean. I imagine maybe I needed another bath even after that, but I'm clean.
Clean fallen.
Aren't we right next to a river? Why did we have to fill up a bathtub for you when you could have just gone?
Because rivers are cold.
It was a mighty stank.
Also, it's got to be the hot, steamy, bathy water, you know?
Yeah. He earned it.
Otherwise,
Well, warm, steaming, happy, bathy water.
yeah, you don't want to cook turtle. That's not good.
No. They're endangered.
But otherwise, I would have gone into the river, washed off a lot of the grime, and then got a lot more grime on me getting out of the river.
Yes. That is sort of how grime and wetness works.
And mud.
And mud. Okay.
That makes me angry. It makes me think of when you're at the beach and then your feet are wet and they get covered in sand,
Yes.
and so you have to you can't just use a towel to get it off. It doesn't work. It scrapes the shit out of you, so you have to use water, and then your feet get covered in sand again. It's the eternal cycle of having minuscule, like, thousands of rocks between your feet.
It is called sandpaper. It is called sandpaper for a reason. Now, the technique that I have discovered is called being a Zen master. And what you do is you realize that the effort it would take to get rid of the sand isn't worth it. And so you rinse your feet off and you put them in your socks wet.
No.
Then you have trench foot.
That's like chaotic evil.
Well, maybe you. My feet are normally wet anyway, so...
No, what you have to do is you get out of the water a little bit early, and you let your feet totally dry with the sand on them, and then you can wipe the sand away.
That's the one.
See,
my go-to is also just assuming that you're going to have to immediately take off your socks and shoes because they will have sand in them.
Yeah, yeah.
No, my mentality is flip-flop mentality, where you go and you don't give a fuck that you have sand on your feet for the entire fucking trip. And the moment you start leaving, the moment you're off the beach, your shoes are in their flip-flops, you take off your flip-flops, you pour water on it and wash it off and stuff like that. Like, you just get it all off, and then you just go about your day. Doesn't matter if it's dry or wet or anything, just get it off.
Sounds fake.
Nope.
Yeah,
not buying it.
Nope. It's the way it's
that
done.
Sounds fake.
I legally am not allowed to have my toes exposed.
But then again, I was also 7 when I did it. It was a different time.
You're living
the time that it is, the non-different time, is the early morning.
Okay, well, yeah, let's head into town. Maybe there's some books that will help with researching.
Okay.
That sounds like an idea.
It's a day there and then... Or sorry, it's a 2 days there, 2 days back kind of thing. Like, you camp midway on the road, and then you have to stick around in the tavern or camp outside of town once you're there.
Okay, well, I'm prepared to do that. Are we desperately wanted in town? We kind of are, aren't we?
Are we?
Well, this is a hideout. I guess no. I guess it'll be okay. We are here because this is a good place to hide in general, not because we fled from town. We fled here from a ways away.
Yeah, and last time you were in town, it wasn't like, oh, look out for these people. You know, it was mostly just like, oh yeah, the life drinkers are back, and they have eyes and ears everywhere.
Okay, well, before we head out, I would like to try to disguise myself. Hoo-ha!
With...
my magical disguise ability.
Just say it's shapeshifter. We know it's shapeshifter.
It's shapeshifter. That I only have 1 dot in, but that's okay. Let's try this. Yeah, that's a 7. Wait, shit, that's the wrong character sheet. Oh my god, that's not a 7 at all.
Was that
okay? I'm just gonna rule that you're half asleep and you're kind of like going hoo and kind of like trying to change faces, and this is happening as you're loading things on and it's not working.
Fine, we'll just go.
All right, so you guys, there's a wagon that you came in here with, not the one that you had beforehand, just a very simple kind of big open thing. It's got room for you to bring stuff to and fro. Is there anything that you guys need to be bringing to town for your bringing from town for your allies, or are there any supplies that you think you're going to need in the long run?
That is a good question. How are
well, I'm gonna make a list. I'm gonna go around and ask everybody what they need.
All right. What are you thinking, Reggie, Hennie?
Well, I'm just wondering, like, what supplies do we need? How's our supplies? I've been gone for 9 days. I have no idea what our supplies are at.
True, your supplies were 0 for the past 9 days.
And I got through it, so we can do it too.
Well, I don't want to be a negative Nelly, but you weren't exactly super nourished. Okay, well, we'll get some food, get some more rations, sort of stock up on, and I look over at Bea. Coffee.
She gives you like a kind of thing. I think I need to angle my camera down. I've just realized that I'm halfway out of frame. And I'll sit and wait because I'm watching this on the Twitch side.
You're good.
There we go. Be straighten my back up a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. That's not what we're doing.
Ooh.
Ooh, that was picked up on camera. Fuck.
What? Can I not like stretch and adjust myself without the session losing all momentum?
No.
Okay, so we're getting some coffee for Bea. We need books, potion, supplies, alchemy. Do you need any of that?
I'm coming with you.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to make a list.
Still a good question. Still a valid question. Do you need any of that added to the list? That way we don't forget when we get there.
Yeah, I'll add it to the list. Add my stuff.
All right. So you're making a list of what everyone needs, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So how are you going about this?
Just
I want every
by
person and ask them, hey, do you need anything from town?
All right. Who's first?
I need a list of people.
Trunk and Elmira.
Trunk and Elmira.
Strictly speaking, there is one that's up in the corner of our stream. Okay,
It's
so you see
not a-
Trunk and
it's not
Elmira.
a
They're never
reliable
that,
list.
they aren't that far from each other, and you are in a big open warehouse, so it's not easy to be far from each other. They sort of look up at you and go, "Oh, hey, Vestra."
Do you need anything from town?
And then they both start talking, and they start rattling things off. Like, I'm presuming that you have like a single piece of paper.
I have a single piece of paper.
Yeah, they fill the piece of paper. They're going into detail, being like, yeah, some whetstones, a little bit of armor oil, need a replacement shaft for the armor repair, like mini soldier's hammer. And as this listing starts going on, people start crowding, like other people. You start hearing from Blue, and he starts leaning in, talking about like the different magical supplies you need. You see Corvo just keep signing at you like paper, and then like just like tons of paper, like ink, all that stuff. It starts to become an absolute clusterfuck.
Okay.
Okay.
One at a time, people. Actually, I'll talk to Trunk and Elmira first, and then I'll go to Blue, and then and if there's anything on the list,
Let's form a nice, neat, orderly line.
So as you're saying that, people are just like, oh, whatever. And you see, like, Red leans over to a desk and he just starts writing his own list. Corvo writes a list and hands it over. You see a couple of people go over to take a bit of paper from Corvo's desk, and he takes out a leather opener and stands down the knife, and it's just like, looks them dead in the eye, and they back off a little bit.
Super protective.
chaos, I tell you.
Yes.
There's sort of like, you hear like a waggle, and right next to you, there's someone handing you a piece of paper, and then someone else and then there's one that you see like on the other side of you as someone else is handing you a piece of paper. And before too long, which is to say a solid 10 minutes, you've actually acquired all the lists you need.
Okay. Goodness. Okay.
Shall we consolidate it to one unified list?
Yeah. Can I transfer it all onto one piece of, or like one list, one master sheet of paper?
You like open all this stuff, you start like picking things up, moving them around. Everything's out of order. Half the handwriting is terrible. This is gonna take ages. You'll probably want to do this on the road.
Okay, I'll do it on the road.
So you guys, you pack up and you start leaving. I'm going to save the whole shebang because it'll just kill the session's momentum. The day goes by not uneventfully, but marred by just the occasional encounter with something skittering off the edge of the road or a beast that's coming out of the woods.
Question, Will.
Yeah.
You said we were traveling by wagon. We don't have any horses. You murdered our last 2 horses, Will.
This isn't your wagon either. It's not your horses. Unless
I know.
you...
But, like, how are we hauling said wagon?
We have horses, they're just not our horses.
Yeah, wouldn't, like, Bea have horses?
Would she?
Technically, they weren't Bea's, but Bea procured them for the party. There's 2.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, technically the last horses weren't ours either.
Have we ever owned horses?
Have you ever owned a horse?
No, because
That being
Will will
said-
murder it.
As you guys hitch up the horses, Reggie, you go and you sit and you take up the entire bench, and then Hennie and Vesta just look at you from off the wagon.
What? Like,
And it's one of those things where it's not even that you're like spreading, it's just, this is your shell. There is a hard physical, like rigid boundary of the entire seat that you're taking.
is
Well,
there literally any other room for them to sit that's not the back of the wagon?
Did you write that?
No, you did.
Oh.
Should I just haul the cart instead?
No, Reginald, it's fine.
Well, like, it's not really fair for you to be in the back seat like that. I mean, what's gonna happen once we get all the gear? A dog will bark, and that's what will happen.
No, it's we perhaps we can take turns. Maybe that's the solution here.
I still don't see how that solves our predicament of when we have a lot of shit in the back.
Then it will be the shit's turn to ride in the wagon. We've walked
Shit
before.
can't steer the front of... Okay, whatever.
What kind of wagon is this?
2-horse wagon. Small, uncovered.
Maybe we need another wagon.
Well, luckily, we're headed to a place that will be absolutely bustling with all sorts of cars. I'm sure we can procure one.
Okay.
No, we don't need a wagon. Let's get rid of our wagon. They say the entire time we have a wagon. Now we don't have a wagon. Hey, we should get a wagon.
I don't think I ever said that we should get rid of our wagon.
And I'm not
You
saying right now that we
definitely
should get
did.
a wagon.
Both of you definitely did. The only thing stopping the both of you from selling their wagon is because Reggie's fat ass couldn't go on a horse.
That's true. That's true.
Well, I don't think it was the wagon itself. I think it was the sort of gilded nature of your mobile throne, if you will. This is unproductive. Let's just get moving.
We'll get moving then.
All right. The horses start moving. The back of the wagon, all of your like packs and stuff are slumped in there, and then Hennie and Vesta, you sit in the back and stretch out your legs, and your legs reach the very edge of the wagon, and that's about the room you got. You start clattering on.
We're gonna need another wagon.
We might need another wagon.
You get a little bit further on, you get towards where your campsite's going to be. You start setting things up. Night passes. You guys are used to keeping watch at this point. It's like clockwork. Another day of clattering down the road. Now, when you say swapping, how are you swapping? What is the swapping that's happening?
Every 2-hour chunk we switch who's... Actually, you know what? As we discovered last session, Reggie's fast as sex. So what we're going to do is every 2 hours we'll just switch who's walking and who's steering. No shit, no one's walking. Then we'll just sit in the back. We'll just sit in the back.
Yeah, it's basically you and Vesta up front, me goes in the back.
Yeah, that's
And
honestly...
I imagine I am uncomfortable as shit.
You actually kind of like rock back and forth, and you can't lean back on anybody's luggage because unlike Vesta and Hennie, if you do that, you're going to break something. You also don't have room to like flop forward on the flat part of your stomach. So you're kind of just sitting and hanging on to the edge of the wagon as you're kind of going clunk, 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 back and forth. Just.
Is this thing moving at a walking pace or a faster than walking pace?
Basically walking pace.
I'm getting out and I'm walking. Fuck this.
As you do that, there's a little lurch as all the weight comes off and you just start trudging along next to the wagon.
I watch him do this for a moment and then go back to doing the list.
So you're looking down at this list, and by now you've gone through, you're trying to cross-reference things. You spent the most time trying to figure out what the hell Steelfist wrote down. You've discovered that it's one of those weird things where, like, 6 different people want a whetstone. There's a bunch of, like, people with really, really specific food requests that they might not have here. But you think you've got it all in order. You've got a master list.
Okay. People want a whetstone. It's
very important to have a whetstone.
Whetstone.
Apparently. Goodness.
Did you guys ask them for any money before you left?
I definitely would have.
Vesta is the treasurer, is she not?
Am I the treasurer?
Like, Vesta had, well, shit, all of our money
I'm not
got
gonna.
blowed up.
I'm not gonna pay for all their whetstone shit.
We still have the 240 gold from that.
I would say that Vesta's probably the one trusted with that.
The venture capital startup that we have.
All right, so you guys have enough that you can tank the hit, so I'm not going to talk about money. It's worth it for the errand.
Okay.
You get into this town, you followed the river for a while, it's been 2 days, and now you're... Technically, it's the main road, but in the same sense that it's the only road that goes from south to north, and it's very disused. You guys are at a village that's kind of just slightly offset in the way that, like, there's a main road and then, like, a pull-off, and then everything is sort of clustered off the pull-off. So you guys come from sort of a ways out and get into this town. It's pretty tiny. There's a tavern, it looks like. It says that there's rooms for an inn, and there's a shed, but you notice that the shed doesn't even have a door. There's a number of different buildings around here, and it's one of those things where you spend about 5 minutes going, oh, and look at that, there's that, oh, and there's a veterinarian over there, and then 10 minutes pass, and you've seen everything that's here.
Not a huge center of commerce like I was sort of hoping it would be. This is fine.
Okay. What time of the day is it?
By the time you got here, it was like a little bit past noon.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get started on the list.
Okay.
Because the list is long.
All right, so you take a look down. The one that's on the thing that's on the top of the list is a few things from Corvo that just you got to get done. It's bulk mail for the party, and there's instructions on how to pick it up from the rookery.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's a bunch of stuff that you'll probably need to go see. You'll probably need to go to the general store. You start going up and down town, looking at all the things on the list, going, oh, maybe a blacksmith? No. Maybe a tailor? No. Clothes? No. And then you kind of look at everything and then just realize that you're going to have to, like, buy everything that there is from the general store and load it up in your wagon in one go.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I might go see if I can secure us some lodgings.
Okay.
That's a fancy word for, like, where we sleep.
Yes, I know.
I've been reading recently.
Yes, you read a lot.
Okay.
So Hennie hops off the wagon and starts walking towards the tavern.
When Hennie
Reggie
hops off
and
the wagon, Reggie's going to lean over to Vesta and just kind of go, now, I wouldn't be surprised if you know what book had the lodging in it. Moves back.
Vesta's just going to shake her head like, my God.
moving on.
Nothing is more erotic than the word, hey baby, do you want to come back to my place of lodging?
Hello. Are you
Nothing
aware that
is
I
more
have
erotic than
lodging
that.
tonight?
Nothing.
Would you care to
There's
join
not
me?
You like my shack? It's my fucking shack.
I believe the term is the shotgun shack. In another part of the... Nope. Steering back. Okay, I'm going to the tavern.
All right, so Hennie wanders off towards the tavern. Red Dean Vesta, you're there with a wagon.
Okay, general store. Let's go.
General store.
Yeah.
Guide us to the general store.
You guys turn and get off the wagon.
It's right there? Okay, great.
Yep. Tiny town. So, Hennie, you got off the wagon. You turned just sort of like around the corner, not even like a quarter of a block away. You get towards where the tavern is. You open, and inside you see that, like, this isn't like an adventurer's tavern full of, like, weary travelers. This isn't a merchant's tavern full of people who are, like, you know, doing their books quietly, like, covering them with their hands in a corner kind of thing. Like, this is just... There's Jeff from down the street. There's Jedediah, who owns the farm up the way.
It's a British pub.
Yeah. You walk in, and it's kind of just like... Anyways, you walk up. There's no one at the counter.
There's no one at the counter.
Okay,
I want to look around the store. Does this place have a lot of the stuff that's on the list?
So, Vesta and Reggie, you guys are taking a look. You keep looking back at each other as you go up and down the shelves. There's basically everything. A lot of the food you're going to have to substitute. Like, Steelfist asked for limes. There's no fucking limes. There's no limes.
We had a bunch of limes.
You had... Well, no, you didn't. You had lemons.
Oh, true.
They were specifically lemons.
No, with that lemon dealer was kind of shady. I'm sure a couple of them were limes.
Towards the bottom.
Yeah.
How is it economical to swap the lemons for the limes?
I didn't say he was a penny pincher. I just said that he was shady.
Pulling like Joker-esque tricks going, aha, I will secretly put different produce in your produce.
Yeah, I mean, man, I wish the cashiers at the grocery store did that.
$2 cheaper. Haha! My brilliant strategy of making money off of you.
The limes are more expensive, but it's just like, man, when you're... This is a tangent! Ah! Man, I can't do
Fucking
it.
go off. Just fucking
It's
go
not
off.
it's not no tangents. It's just like...
Dude, we can tell you want to go off on a tangent. Just go off.
No, I made a solemn vow. I've been watching She-Ra lately. It's really getting me in the vow mood.
Gabe, it has way more entertainment value if we get frustrated at you for going on a tangent and tell you to stop, as opposed to you stopping the tangents and us going, okay, so plot. So I'm telling you, Gabe, please, be yourself.
But
be
now
true to what your heart desires. What do you think I'm doing? Do you think this isn't a tangent?
Oh my god.
This show is a tangent. Like,
It is.
3 actions take place in the game world, and meanwhile, we just talk about random shit for 2 hours. That's what the show is.
This is true. Man.
So you have feelings about limes.
Feelings about limes. How do you feel about limes?
God, well now I'm on the limes are green, which is better than yellow. I just wish that my cashier at the grocery store, if I'm buying a bunch of potatoes, well, one of them maybe is like a red potato instead of a yellow potato.
You're picking the potatoes, though.
See, that's why he's got to be real skilled at this. And like,
Oh, so he's got to swap the potatoes as he's like bagging them.
yeah, a little bit of sleight of hand. You know, I wouldn't even be angry. I would just be like, oh, I guess I have a red potato now that I can't do anything with. You know.
It's like old school how they used to have grocery baggers, now they have potato jugglers.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of it'd be.
They teach you sleight of hand when you're like, I'm going to be a grocery store.
Anyway,
clerk.
this is why you hate the Joker. Because that's all he ever does.
Because that's his
You reach
chaotic
into your
energy.
pocket
It's
and you're
just-
like, beans!
Well, I hate the Joker because people are taking him seriously as a character, and I think that's silly.
Yeah, because when he goes grocery shopping, that's what he does. He'll see a person who has like an open bag of like lemons, and he'll just grab one lime and then go up, fucking swap them out and put it back, and no one is the wiser, but he is laughing his ass off.
At the risk of making a lot of people very angry, I think for the longest time the Joker was the only good character DC had in sort of the public sphere.
I'm not angry by that statement.
And then they were like, man, the Joker, what if you made him really edgy? And so
which Joker? You're talking about a character that's been around for 80 fucking years.
As a concept.
Yeah, but you can't talk about the Joker as like a concept.
Yeah, you can. The brand of the Joker. If I say something is Joker-esque, before you would think, oh, like a clown that does crimes, and now you think like, oh, like some kid in a t-shirt at a high school that's real angry at the world.
Yeah, but the brand of Joker, I would say, is not an edgy Joker. I would say the brand of the Joker is distinctly unedgy.
Right, but he's trying to be edgy. The brand of the
recent ones.
Yeah.
The more recent movies have been trying to be edgy. The comics still keep him true to sort of like, he's just a like chaotic dick. Like,
and even in the edgy Joker-related comics, the Joker is still kind of just goofy. The edginess is circumstantial.
Yeah.
Here's like the Killing Joke. The guy comes in like a tourist outfit with a bucket hat, shoots Barbara Gordon in the spine, and then takes a picture with a big goofy tourist camera. Like,
yeah. See that?
There is no edginess about comic Joker in any way, shape, or form.
That is maximum. What you've just described is incredibly edgy. In that,
No, I'm just going to say no to you. I'm just going to say you're incorrect.
You're just going to say no? That
I think we have a different definition of what edgy is.
Okay. I'll just ask you this: is Deadpool edgy?
He has potential, and there are certain comics where he has dipped his toe into edge. But for the most part,
I think it's gray area, and I think that you do have to define edgy. So, what is edginess?
Oh, what I'm thinking of edginess, I'm thinking of, wow, normally this wouldn't happen because it's bad.
That's not edginess.
No.
Not edginess?
No, that's
just bad writing.
That's being dark for the sake of being... Like, edginess to me is being dark for the sake of being dark. Like, I think
that edginess is that, like, being dark for the sake of being dark in addition to, like, there's a sort of faux serious tone about it. Like, what you're saying is, like, deep and transcendent as opposed to just being like, I'm dark, I'm terrible. Like, if you're doing it ham, I think you're distinctly non-edgy. I think if you do it ham, it counters the edge.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm talking specifically about the ham sort of faux edgy.
Oh, no, that's more like
that's
a camp. That's like a camp edgy. Like, it's very... It's I wouldn't consider it the same.
I don't know. Like the Joker, he's like...
There is a very common trope in manga and anime where they're trying to be edgy, and what they do is in the first couple of episodes of a show, they introduce a character that they endear. It's very easy to endear. The childhood friend who's like a girl who's desperately in love with the protagonist, and then by like the 5th episode or so, they kill her off for no reason whatsoever. No fucking reason whatsoever. That is edgy. It's meant to be like, look at how dark we are. Oh, God, we killed off a character that people liked. Ah! And then it's just like, the reader is just sitting there being like, okay, next.
Right. I guess
I would say that that's edgy, whereas like the Joker thing of like crashing through a window, being like, haha, boink, boink, kill 2 people, I'm the Joker. And then, like, fall through the floor. Like, I feel like that is the exact opposite of edginess.
Perfect differentiation. The Joker versus the Joker's daughter.
Okay.
Joker's a daughter?
It's a comic book. It's a comic book variation that the Joker's daughter was meant to be the antithesis to Harley Quinn, where both are like versions of the Joker, whereas Harley Quinn is the one you can empathize with. And the Joker's daughter was meant to just be edgy. And how she was introduced she's not his biological daughter. I don't think they ever actually confirmed that. I don't know. I stopped reading the comic. But essentially what the Joker's daughter is she found the Joker's body after the Joker died. She cut his face off and wore it around and called herself the Joker's daughter and started doing Joker-esque things. But in a way more edgy way, where it's just like the camp and the sort of like driving a car through, honk, honk, I'm the Joker. It's gone. It's just she's murdering people for funsies.
Okay.
And,
I think we've reached the end of the tangent. I think that now is the point where we...
One more thing to clarify.
Okay.
The thing I don't like about the Joker is that whether he's actually edgy or if he comes in going honk, honk, bang, bang, he is treated as this transcendent being when he's just a violent man
by who
does weird things. By the
comic book fandom.
By the comic book fandom and the comic books. Because there's always like, Batman's like, the Joker is my antithesis. And it's like, who is the Joker? Is he some trickster god? No, he's a guy with a clown.
Did you get really mad at an internet fight and now you're trying to turn it into a tangent so you have an excuse to talk about it on air?
I'm mad about Batman. He got a chair, and the chair gives him infinite knowledge, and the chair tells him there's 3 Jokers.
And there's a ding, and Hennie, you just sort of snap out of it, and there's a chuckle as you're at the counter. It's probably been 10 minutes, you kind of zoned out. Bartender's sitting there going, hey, you good?
Yeah, do you have a place where you can stay?
Yeah, rooms are all open.
How much?
We got 5 rooms, I think.
Okay. Price?
Oh yeah, the price isn't too bad.
I am glad.
Oh, right.
Right, I have a business to run.
No. Hang on a second.
Wait here, and the bartender hops over the bar and walks outside. There's windows sort of on the sides of the building, so you can see that this person goes around the bar, down an alley, knocks on a door, and you hear something very distant, like oh, and you hear the guy responding, "Mom, how much do we charge for rooms? Mom," and then you hear tung tung tung, and the door opens, and it's like, "What? Mom, how much do we charge for a silver? Thanks, Mom." And the door slams. Bartender comes back in, hops over the bar again. That'll be 1 silver.
Okay, 1 silver. Do you have a place for wagons?
If it fits in the shed, it fits in the shed.
Excellent. Here, have a silver and a copper for service with a smile.
All right. And there's just kind of a smile.
Did you get a room? Like, does that confirm your booking?
I'm just staring. I'm kind of staring at him like.
And he stops and then he goes into the bar and you hear, and then the other. You see him go back and he goes, right, and he sort of like and he grabs a key that's tucked under his shirt that he pulls out, and he goes, you gotta come with me, and leads you up some stairs, goes to the end of the hall, unlocks the little cabinet, takes one of the keys out and goes, how many people are in the room?
How about I give you another 2 silver and we get 3 rooms?
So he goes,
And in my mind's eye, as he was discussing this, I had a flashback to last night or 2 nights ago when Reginald just came back and the snores. Oh my god, you'd think he hadn't seen a bed in a week.
Reggie does not snore.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that, buddy.
So he goes and he takes 1, 2, 3, and he gives them to you. Rooms 1, 2, 3, and he points rooms 1, 2, 3 on the side of the wall. Just have a good time. And he stops and he goes, "Oh, right. Do you have those silvers?"
Yes. And I hand them to him.
Thanks. And he goes back downstairs.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a look at these rooms I just rented. Because I have a bad feeling.
So you open it, and it's like, is this a bad feeling? Like you're worried that you're going to open it and there's going to be cockroaches?
More of a bad feeling. I'm going to open it and it'll just be dusty, honestly.
So this feeling doesn't end up occurring. You're worried and you open it, and it's like there's scratchy ass wool blankets. There's like 6 dolls on top of a dresser. There's like 16 pictures of cats. It looks like this was decorated by an 87-year-old from 1960.
Okay.
And you check the next room, 1980. And then you check the last room, and everything is bright pink.
Okay. Well, I'm calling this one because I don't want to look at dolls while I sleep.
Nice.
Honestly, I feel like in this sort of time period and setting and all that, getting that much pink paint and pink dye, like,
that's actually kind of an accomplishment.
So, I'll say that you know the numbers to each of the rooms, and when you go back and meet your companions, because by now they're probably still loading up, you've only been gone for like 10 minutes, you could just give them the numbers, and then when people get to bed or walk to their rooms, I'll let you tell them which ones you gave them.
Okay.
So you wander back off, you finish your business here, you lock the rooms up, and you head back to the general store where everyone's still there. You walk in, and you see Vesta and Reggie both like looking over a list, and there's 5 whetstones total in the entire store, and you need 6.
Well, friends, I have there's not really a large assortment of information here. I feel like their books might be a little bit limited for our purposes. Where's the next town on the map?
You take a look at the map, and you can go up and down, but from what you were told by the other people who've come and made supply runs before you, that there's not really anything. This is not book country.
Okay, that is the saddest sentence I've ever heard. Okay, well, suppose we'll have to sort of invest in some preschool level sharing capabilities.
Yeah, just get 5 whetstones and tell some people you're gonna have to share.
All right, so you guys, you continue loading things up, but it becomes obvious that there doesn't need to be 3 of you here, and it's going to take a while. You've also still got to go pick up mail.
Well, I can go do the mail.
Okay.
Unless, Reggie, if you want to, sort of integrate back into society a bit.
Reggie is just going to kind of look at you as he's like loading stuff up and all that, and it's going to be like, I mean, I don't see how I can integrate any more than in the middle of a general store, in the middle of town, loading up a wagon.
I mean, okay.
And then just kind of like,
please go get the mail?
Yes, I was just thinking maybe, the talking to some people and reading that you might be excited to get. Yes, never mind.
I'm not expecting any mail.
So you wander off, and it's a little ways towards the Rookery. It's a little bit further out of town, but by that I very much mean like you walk to the end of a street, you turn, you walk to the end of a street, that's the edge of town, and that's the Rookery.
Okay.
You've got the sheet that Corvo gave you. It's got instructions. You look at it, and it says you're supposed to refer to yourself as an associate of Mr. Corvinius, and that there should be a letter for you with a box number.
Okay, well, I walk up and I say, hello, I am a associate of Mr. Corvinius, and I am here to do some rookering.
So like the rookeries you've been to before, you knock and someone dressed basically the same as Corvo, but without the mask, opens up. The name Mr. Corvinius is not the weirdest name you've heard, but they kind of look at you assuming it's a fake name, and they got the thing, they pass it to you. You open up the little sealed letter thing. It's sealed off with wax, so you can tell if it's been opened. And it just says 187, and you're only supposed to be getting the 1, but then he passes you a second one.
Who is it addressed to?
Mr. Corvinius.
And he didn't mention anything about a second letter. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go check that first box, the box with the number on it, and I'm going to see if there is any mail for Corvo, and if it uses the name Corvo. Because here's my thinking. If it's addressed to, if Corvinius is a fake name that he uses as sort of a catch-all that anyone could use, then it's probably as like a message. But if it's specifically for Corvo, I don't want to open his mail. That would be rude, and I'm not about...
You're not a snoop.
Surely I don't want to be rude to anyone. That would be cruel, and I'm not curious as to what it says.
So, there's a desk, and there's, a bit of a separation, but it's not a big fancy, there's a wall erected between you and a whole, service post or anything like that. You can see the entire room, and it's kind of just like a chair and a table, and you could walk right past. His body language indicates for you to follow, so you kind of just do. The rooker wanders over, and you see that, it looks like these are all just, not crates, but, quarter crates packed down. Some of them are bigger, but they're all numbered, and they're on these shelves and slotted in. He leans down, he takes out one, and you can see that this isn't something that's meant to open and close. You're going to have to pry this open with the crowbar. It says 187 bulk mail. He passes it to you.
Thank you kindly.
Remember, don't open it in the rookery. Anything else I can help you with?
Is that a common thing people say, or is that
You're not supposed to. Those boxes are supposed to stay sealed for the rookers. They don't look inside.
I see. Okay. Thank you very... Is there a candle in the room?
There's a number of candles.
Okay. Does he seem busy? Does he have a desk that he's doing stuff at?
He's sort of
Carlos mail.
Maybe.
You should at least leave the rookery before you do that.
He's sort of lazy working, always doing something, but in the way that's this is more to fill time than to get things done.
Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I guess I'll leave the rookery to do it. I'm just looking for something where I can an open flame where I can heat up the edge of my hatchet and just slide it under that wax seal. Ever so delicately.
What wax seal?
On the letter.
The letter addressed to Mr. Corvinius, which is the fake name that you guys are using to pick up your mail?
Yes. Okay, fine.
It's not Corvo. You're not picking up Corvo's mail.
Okay.
The instructions to pick up the group mail. This is your letter. You're allowed to just open it.
I'll just open the letter then. Jeez.
If you really want to, you can. I have no idea why you're doing any of this. It's addressed to you. You can just open it.
I didn't know. I thought it was addressed to Corvo, and I was opening it on his behalf.
I thought so. I thought that too.
Opening it on his behalf.
No, yeah. Collecting the mail on his behalf. My understanding was that Corvo had this secret thing set up, and he was the one that handled the mail, and just this once he's saying, go do the mail, this is what you do. And I didn't want to mess up with the system, but if we have open reign on this letter, man, it didn't withstand 5 seconds of being in my hands before it was ripped open.
I mean, Corvo's name isn't Mr. Corvinius either.
It could well be. Who knows? He's a mysterious man.
So you're kind of grumbling as you make your way out of the rookery, and you close the door behind you. Do you walk all the way back to the wagon?
No, I'm opening it right here. After that sort of burst,
So you tuck the heavy box. You pop this letter open, and it's just a few phrases. It just says, a sign of good faith, box 097, send red coat, and that's as much space as there is on the small little rolled up letter.
Well, it looks like I'm going back to the rookery. Sorry, so sorry to bother you. It turns out that I have another box.
Oh, yeah, of course. He heads over and he gets you the other numbered box. He passes it over.
You run a very relaxed atmosphere rookery.
Not much goes through.
Okay, well, thank you. I kind of feel like a spring that has been tensioned up with nothing to press against here.
Do you want like an argument with this rookery man?
Not an argument per se, but he just gave it to me. He didn't even ask why he came back. He didn't even give me any sass.
Not gonna lie,
Okay.
I think I've told this story to you guys off stream before, but I had to pick up a FedEx package and they shipped it to a FedEx holding facility, which is like a store that's just like, yeah, we'll take your FedEx packages and people can pick them up for us. And I walked in and the dude's just like, you got a package? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, which one's yours? I was just like, this one, I think it has my name on it, so sure. And he's just like, okay, cool. And then I was just like,
yeah, that's insane.
It's like, okay, sign here. So I signed and he's just like, okay, you're good to go. I was like, okay.
I had to pick up some PC parts from Purelator because the guy that delivered it didn't actually knock on the door at all. Like, I was waiting. They said it'd be here for like these 5 hours, and I sat by the door waiting. Didn't hear a knock, nothing, and at the end of the hours, I went and opened it, and there's the package. Like, I was sorry, the little slip that says you weren't here. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, so I go there, and the lady's like, I demand that you show me some mail with your name on it. I was like, I didn't know I had to bring that. And it was also very scary because the man behind me was in full military fatigues, and he was like, just absolutely waiting on my dumb ass to get his package. And I was like, oh man, please don't recruit me.
Just grabs you by the scruff of your neck. Congratulations, you're in the army now. Just
you know how it is, just the way things go. You know, you go to pick up a package and now you're a soldier.
Yeah.
Draft him, all right?
Yeah, so that was rough.
Canadian military.
Anyway, I'm going to go to my room to open up all this mail.
So you got 2 boxes. You carry them with you. Looks like Reggie and Vesta are starting to actually haul things out and put them in the wagon. So it looks like that's basically done. You're able to walk a little bit further, head into the tavern. You go up the stairs and over to your room, the pink one. And you sit down, and you got 2 boxes.
I'm opening... Well, the bulk mail is just going to be mail. Actually, well, I'm worried if I open it, I won't be able to seal it, and then our letters will go everywhere. But I guess if it's just nailed, I can put the nails back. Yeah, I'll crack open the second one.
All right, so they're technically both labeled bulk mail, but you go for the one that isn't supposed to be bulk mail, and you crack it. As you do that, you open it up, and it's like a few newspaper clippings. Some of them are really yellow, some of them are newer. There's like a thick file you can see that's all like collated and pinned together a little bit further in.
Oh, I'm going for that file.
All right, so you're taking a look at this this file. You move a bunch of things out of the way, and when you get to the file, you notice that there's like a pin, not a sticky note, but just like one that's been placed so that it would be right on top of it, like a small piece of paper. You pick it up, and it just says, "Get the papers. You'll know it when you see it."
Get them. Okay. Well, I guess I'll look at them. Is there anything in that file folder aside from this little thing that was on top?
It's all like life drinker stuff. As you look through these like pieces of paper, you're setting them aside. It seems like most of them are like it's stuff related here. It's all related to Boru. It's about like one of them is talking about an identity he used to have when he was a swindler back in Redwine. One of them is about his like normal identity's drowning, disappearance. And then like there's another headline that's 2 days later that's him as like an industrialist under a new name opening a venture looking very similar kind of thing. Like very obvious, like this is proof that this is a person who changes names kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing related to Redcoat in here. And when you look through the big file, it seems, and this is from you looking through files like this as a job previously, it looks like jargon. You 100% need context. This thing references an incident. It references like illegal use of military force. It talks about like sovereignty and jurisdiction. It mentions the words international incident. There's something you're missing here.
And that note said, find the papers?
It said, get the papers, you'll know it when you see it.
Ah. Get the papers. Let's see. Well, this looks like a mystery, boys. I'm rifling through to see if there's anything I missed. And the letter, what did the letter say? The letter said something about Redcoat mining?
It just said send info on Redcoat.
Said info.
Send.
Oh, send.
Mhm.
Okay. Is there a return address?
Yep.
On Redcoat. Well.
You notice that this one, like you immediately recognize that it's fluff and that it wouldn't give you any information. But when you look at the return information, you see that it's for Mr. Florence of Florence.
What a terrible name.
Okay, well. Redcoat Mining. Now, there was that lawyer who was investigating the Redcoat Mining Company.
Right,
Do we still have her contact information? Are we able...
You wouldn't know.
Okay. So she's in the air. I mean, we have quite a few people that we can interview about the Redcoat and compile something to send back. International incident. Can I roll history or politics to see if I can think of any international incident within recent memory?
You don't need to roll for this. Just you would know if it happened. You'd know if it happened, and these are like fresh printed pages. There's dates that are like in the past few weeks.
And it nothing happened that we know of.
You don't know if anything happened.
Okay.
Just a note that says check the papers.
Incident?
Okay, well,
Are you going to show this to us?
yeah, absolutely. You're just a little busy right now. Okay, well, it looks like we need to find a reliable source of news that isn't just this backwater place. Okay. Is there
So
a
at
way
this
that...
point, you reckon, based on how long you've been sitting in this room, that Reggie and Vesta are probably like, all right, Hennie, what's going on?
Yeah, so, say the first word that comes to your minds.
Well, no, like you have this open crate, you have a bunch of papers, like you're in a room. Are you going to leave the room? Are you going to...
Oh, yeah, no, I'm leaving the room to talk to them. So
Okay.
a few quick things before we get into sort of the juicy stuff that happened while you were hauling things.
Okay, so you leave, you close the door, you lock it, you leave the papers behind, you go downstairs, out the tavern, into the street.
Yeah, I thought what you were saying is they were knocking on the door, like, hey,
No, they don't know where to go.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see. Okay.
we don't know what
You have given them zero information.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. I assume they could just find the tavern. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'm walking out. I'm locking the door. I'm going out to find them. I'm sorry. I was
So
dummy. Okay.
So you're getting ready to go and check the general store, and you look down and you see a confused-looking Vesta.
Down outside.
No, just
My door?
just like in the tavern,
Oh,
not out your door, like downstairs. Vesta, Reggie's looking for a place to park. You have no idea where you're supposed to park this thing.
Yeah.
He said whatever fits in the shed, fits in the shed.
The shed?
The shed.
Where's the shed?
That's the shed that I believe it is the shed that we passed that has no door, so...
You believe?
No, I'm gonna try something. This is a pretty casual place. I'm gonna do my best sort of casual drawl and lean across the table and go, "Hey, barkeep."
Is the barkeep actually there?
No.
Is there anybody else in the tavern?
There's one person. One of the old guys from earlier.
Hey, pal.
The guy looks up from a newspaper. You see that the newspaper just has a headline that says "Carnage at Little Inlet." He goes, "Yeah." What is it?
Hey, that shed out back, that belongs to the tavern, right?
Yeah, it's tavern shed. I think they want you to pay for it. I don't think they care, though. He goes, turns a page.
I sort of sit down at the table across from him and say, hey,
I turn to Reggie and I'm like, let's go put the
I don't think I'm
thing
there.
in the...
I think I'm in the back with the wagon. I think I'm like trying to find a spot.
Okay, yeah, so I
You are okay. So Reggie, you are in front of the tavern, just sitting on the wagon. You have no idea where Hennie is. You think she went back to the tavern. Vesta went inside to investigate and hasn't come back out yet.
Hennie hasn't given me any information about like anything, and so Hennie's just acting real weird with this guy at the table. So I'm just gonna leave and be like, okay, let's go put it in the shed.
You're over here. You get context. Excuse me, sir. Are you from that?
And he like flips the paper, and as he's doing that, like in the newspaper way to get another side of it, you see that there's like a lesser headline, like the bulk of the article, that says like weapons manufacturer disfigured. And he goes, "What was that about the paper?"
Can I borrow it when you're done?
Oh yeah, sure. And he doesn't move.
Yep.
And he flips and he opens, and you see another page. And it says International Tensions Flare.
Oh my god.
Just go get another paper.
Where did you acquire that paper, good sir?
Oh, you know. I'll be back in a second. I'm going to use the outhouse. And he puts the paper down. And he puts the paper down on the side that you see that's up. It says, like, Void Bay furious at interference. And he gets up and leaves to use the bathroom.
Well, as he gets up and leaves, I resheath the hatchet that I had pulled out.
I was going to say, how many steps does he take before you just...
I wasn't going to threaten him with it. I was just going to thwack it into the table as a way to make him know that if he doesn't give me the paper, there'll be dire. That's threatening. Shit. Yeah, okay. I lunge over the table, like, to grab this paper as soon as he leaves the building. Like, I'm stoic, door slams, I lunge.
All right, so basically, like, at this point, Vesta's gone. All right, let's get to the shed. She's left. Vesta, you like wave Reggie over. You're like, all right, you guys start moving the wagon towards the shed. You're sitting there and you're kind of trying to get it in. It's the kind of thing where it's scraping both sides of the door, but in the way where you kind of want to keep pushing, and it just barely gets in. The seat is fully uncovered. There's no door, but the door wouldn't close if you had one. You sort of go, and as you turn around, you see a door open. It's the guy from inside. Closes. He heads next to the shed where the portable john is. And you just hear like a from inside the tavern. So Vesta, Hennie, you go and you scramble and you pick this thing up and you're looking through and you're doing your best, like, document speed reading. You're like, okay. An international incident. Carnage at Little Inlet. Small community ravaged by poisoned water supply. And you look and it says it's one of those things where you're 3 sentences in and you realize that this is we're following this continuing situation, and whatever was important was said 2 weeks ago. It's not in this paper. All you know is that Void Bay which is a nation very close to where you are, is basically at odds with the Freedlands right now, and at odds with the Trade Association, which is an international group, and there's just a whole kerfuffle.
We caused a kerfuffle!
Nice! Another kerfuffle for us!
Yes.
Well, if we sort of were the center of the kerfuffle, I don't think that our actions directly...
No, we caused that kerfuffle.
Okay. Okay, well, I didn't know these people were so fucking volatile about lemons. Okay.
So you're there, and you flip to the page, and it's weapons manufacturer disfigured, and you look up, and the guy comes back from the Porta John, closes the door. Reggie and Vesta enter in behind from the rear tavern door, and he goes, "Hey, couldn't help yourself, eh?" Yeah, I've been glued to the whole thing. Yeah, come on. He opens up a hand, and he goes, "So, you've been reading about this whole thing?"
I am going to slam my hands on the table and say, "No, as a matter of fact, I have kind of been out in the wilderness for the past 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on."
I'm going to interfere here. I'm going to be like, "What's going on? Is there something going on in the papers?"
Yes, Vesta, I would say there is something going on. Yeah, here, and I toss you the keys. You have the creepy doll room.
What?
Tell me,
Does that have to have something to do with the papers?
what happened?
The guy just looks at this exchange and goes, "Y'all need a minute?"
I need...
Reggie will just, at that moment, put his hand on Hennie's shoulder and just... She's been under a lot of stress as we've been traveling.
Right, sorry, and I kind of straighten up and I dust off my vest and I sit down and say, "Okay.
Well,
I have not been keeping up with the news. What the hell is happening?"
I'm gonna take the paper. I'm gonna turn to the guy and be like, "Is this yours? Is it okay if I take it or
Peruse?
he goes, "Yeah, when I'm done with it." He goes and he reaches and grabs it.
Where could I get
And
another copy?
and he opens it and reads. "Well, I got this one at the usual place. But yeah, it looks like all right." And he folds it and he leans towards you and he goes, "Oh, wait, right. This one asked first." And he passes the paper to Hennie. And he goes, yeah, some kind of... the guy who got disfigured, apparently this guy was commandeering a military unit. And they say that he's an agent of Westmarch, but he's also under the purview of the Freelands because he's a business owner and the business is legally there. And then it turns out they raided the business and they found out that it's just an apartment with a mail slot and nothing in it. And that actually everything's run out of Westmarch where all the stuff he's doing. Apparently it's just trade law stuff anyways. And he does a long well, anyways, I can't make heads or tails of it, but they say it's something to do with overreach and that, I don't know. I think, and he gestures with a thumb towards an empty booth and he goes, "I think the one that came out is in that booth."
I go over to that booth. Is there a paper there?
So you move to that booth and you don't see it, and when you turn back and look towards the guy, you see that the newspaper that you're looking for has slid under the table you were talking at.
Okay. I reach under and grab it.
So you reach under, you kind of peel it off the floor, a little pat, get some of the dust off, a little bit of the dirt.
You wouldn't happen to have a copy of the papers where this all broke, would you?
That's literally what Vesta's holding right now, isn't it?
He chuckles, he's like, "Do I look like a paper collector?" Anyhow, and the guy stands up with a groan and he goes, "That's me." And he leaves.
Okay.
So Vesta, you're taking a look at the paper that you picked up off the floor. You've dusted it off. Now that you have the time to sort of like sit, read, and pour it over, it looks like, yeah, this was you, but not necessarily in a bad way. They haven't identified you, which is conspicuous because they know who they are. If they had the upper hand, they would have smeared your name over the news the way they've done it a few times now. It seems that it was to do with... They said it was like contract negotiations. The side that Boru and his companies are saying was that it was like people that they needed to negotiate a contract with. And then apparently he hired these Void Bay soldiers that came to see you, and then that's involved in a corruption deal. As you look through, it's like a spider web of things. Do you guys remember what happened on that island? Do you want to give me a quick little summary?
So,
okay.
Yeah, there were pirates there setting up their life, and then...
So, as you look through the paper, you see that the pirates there setting up their life, this land is unclaimed land. Mm-hmm. Technically, these pirates were a sovereign nation, which makes this basically an illegal, corrupt takeover.
Okay.
Continue.
They wanted food for us from the merchant thing, so we went and got food, and when we came back, they had poisoned the well. Boru's group had poisoned the well, gotten there just before us, and done all that stuff.
So your group, like that's just said, unnamed fugitives. It was originally alleged that you had poisoned the well, but the survivors pointed a finger at Boru. The thing with the lemons also ties to allegations that the Trade Association, because of the fact that this was a sovereign nation, they were targeting these people to repeatedly like harvest money from them and then enact debt and harvest money and enact debt kind of thing. So that's how they're involved.
Oh, that's fun. But basically, yeah, so we got the lemons from Maud. Don't know what the fuck happened with Maud.
She died in the poisoning, I'm assuming.
Well,
yeah.
When we arrived and started investigating, that's when Boru and the Void... What was the Void something?
Void Bay.
Void Bay.
Void Bay group came in and started accusing us. At the same time, the Trade Association came in and started accusing us. We convinced the Trade Association that we were good, and then some civilians who had survived came out and vouched for us, turning the Trade Association against Void Bay, and then the task force that's hunting us down showed up.
So the task force is being referred to as Mysterious Westmarch Police Project. And this thing, like when they mention it directly in parentheses, it says, see our full investigative report.
Nice.
You guys are looking at what basically for you was a standoff, some gunshots, and then bolting from an island. And this paper, and at this point you guys are like sniffing around. Reggie, you've come back, and now you guys are pulling up papers from like between like couch cushions and putting all these things in order. You've taken up the middle of the tavern, but luckily the bartender hasn't come back, so really you guys are alone in this building right now. You get all this stuff out, and yeah, people have been picking this apart. Apparently, a lot of things happened on that island that brought light places they weren't necessarily supposed to be. It's going to take you... That being said, it's going to take you ages to pour through this, like days to actually get this to harvestable information. I'm being vague as a GM giving you information because you're just scanning and trying to get what you can. You aren't even sure what all this is.
Well,
I'm going to collect it, put it in a chronological order pile, and then bring it with me to my room, I guess.
There's some more clippings that were sent in the mail.
So...
Okay.
You go up and you find all these different names, and you find the one that says send info on Redcoat. Hennie, when you're looking at this thing that says send info on Redcoat, how did you enter the party again?
I was following them. I wasn't there while they were at Redcoat, but I was tracking them. And
But why were you tracking them?
Because I was looking for people who know how to hunt life drinkers. And I had heard from Blue and Red that they were the people to check out. And, you know, I looked around and people matching your description had signed on for Redcoat Mining. So when I heard that the Redcoat Mine had sort of collapsed, I was looking for you guys among the rubbish, the wreckage, basically.
So would Hennie have any information on the Redcoat Mining Company in the investigation prior?
Not the investigation prior, but definitely, you know, like looking into the survivors and trying to figure out sort of in the aftermath. She was kind of caught up in a bit of that.
I thought you had information that linked Boru to Redcoat.
Yeah, I remember because you basically caught them like 2 days after they got off the boat. Nobody knew that the riot had happened.
Right. I guess, yeah. Might be misremembering some stuff. But yeah, no, yeah, because we talked to the lawyer lady and we had worked that out, that there was a connection there. Yeah, no, I would have some stuff on Boru and some stuff on the Redcoat Mining, and yeah, no, I would probably be able to piece some stuff together, but I'd have to talk to some first-hand people, but I mean, we have that here.
That's me.
That's you.
And only you.
By now it's getting late for you guys, and it's getting about time to turn in.
Okay.
Well, we have a couple, like tens of gold worth of supplies in a wagon that isn't locked, but this isn't exactly a dangerous community.
Where's our horses exactly?
Just hitched up next to the wagon.
Yeah. I mean, Reggie will probably go and check on them before bed, before turning in.
You go out and they seem happy. There's grass around here. Not that many people walking around.
Reginald. Now that you did your big sort of nature trip, can you tell the horses to, like, if there's a big sort of event that they can psychically tell you?
Psychically tell me.
Yeah. Is that a thing you can do?
No, they can't wake me in case of an emergency. They'll mostly just stomp around a whole lot.
And as you say that, the horses just kind of stomp.
Like that.
Okay.
Reggie just gives one a pat.
Okay,
the horse winks back at you.
Sorry, at Reggie or Hennie? Oh
Reggie.
My god. Okay, thank God.
Yeah, just a horse just out of nowhere being like, hey.
If a horse winked at Hennie, I think Hennie would, like, there's a good chance Hennie would try to kill it just on impulse. Like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Hennie is wound so tight.
Hennie is wound very tight.
Right, so you guys heading to bed now?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think Reggie would sleep in the bed. I think Reggie would sleep with the horses, as a horse.
All right.
Are you going to sleep outside?
I'm going to sleep outside with the horses. It's the extra protection. Because, like, I don't want our wagon stolen, even if even if the people in town seem to be alright and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna be out there for a little bit.
Now, are you explaining this to us, or are you just doing it?
No, I'm just telling you to go in without me.
Okay.
Hennie, you're just sitting here with the last room key.
Okay, well, I guess I keep it in my pocket and I go to bed. I'm just gonna unlock Reggie's door and then put the key inside the room for him when he comes back. And also, I wasn't planning to sleep. I was planning to check out the window to make sure no one stole our horses periodically in the first...
You don't have the angle to watch it from any of the rooms.
Okay. Then I guess I won't, and I will instead just go to sleep.
All right. So, Reggie, you head back outside. You sort of shift into the shape of a horse with your magic, and you stand alongside them. It's not a bad night.
I am horse.
You're a horse. Meanwhile, Vesta, you haven't been in your room yet, right?
Vesta would probably head to bed pretty soon.
All right, so Hennie told you doll room, and Hennie basically goes, all right, see ya, and opens the door as you guys are heading up to the rooms, and you see just bright pink. Not even one shade of pink, like multiple shades of pink in order to make color contrast. Just pink.
Oh no.
You go and
room, isn't it?
you put the key in and you click it and open it. And as you do that, you look and there's like 6 dolls, and you swear all of them are staring at you. This room is covered in pictures of kittens. It's like there's big scratchy wool blankets and doilies on the end tables. There's a little cuckoo clock. There's like a knick-knack shelf. It is garish in here.
Has Hennie already unlocked Reggie's room?
Yeah, I would have.
I go look at Reggie's room. Is that one better?
You slowly back out, close it, lock it, go to the next one, you open it because it was just locked, the key was chucked in, and here you just see that it's orange. Like there's these orange bed sheets, there's like a dark chocolate brown that the bed frame's been painted. Along the walls, there's like that dark brown on top, and then like a white on the bottom, and then a thick yellow line and a thick orange line. It looks like everything here is like a perfect square. There's no like bevels or anything, just like dark shelves like slid together. Everything looks weird in this room.
Will, I know you didn't know this, but you just perfectly described my bedroom as a kid.
Really?
I grew up, like, when I was, like, in, like, grade 5 or 6 or something like that. My parents painted my bedroom and all this other shit, and it was bright orange, and it stayed that way until I left. Until I left for university, it stayed bright fucking orange. And
bright orange is strong.
Yeah, and when I came back from university and they had repainted it, I was like, why did you guys paint it bright orange in the first place? And they're like, we asked you what color you wanted your room to be, and you said that. I'm like, why the fuck did I say that? Orange isn't even my favorite color. I don't give a fuck about orange. I don't know why I thought orange would be a great bedroom color.
Yeah.
My bedroom was green, and then I got a different bedroom in the basement, and it was like hot red.
Now, was it you or your brother that was offered to live in the basement?
Okay, so my dad offered to make my brother a room in the basement. And so he set up a bed down there. And my brother's like, this is creepy, living in the basement. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
So he moved back upstairs. And then I went downstairs and did the same thing. And I'm like, I love it down here. The Xbox is down here. Nobody comes down here. This is great. And so my dad built me like a whole room that had walls. It had like a walking closet. It had everything. Like he went all up. My dad's like a construction guy, right? Like he makes things. And my brother's like, wait, I didn't know it was going to be an actual room. And I think he's still kind of grumpy about it to this day, that I had gotten a room and he didn't.
Yeah. I'm going to run off to the bathroom real quick. I swear I have a related anecdote.
Well, now we have to wait forever for that to come back. God. Gabe, what color was your room? Was it corner
green
colored?
It was green.
Was it bright green?
It was pretty bright green. Lane's room, it's now Lane's room, and they haven't painted it still. I painted that room myself.
Oh, that's nice.
My parents painted my room. It was, my first, I think as a kid it was like purple, like a soft purple.
Yeah.
And then we painted it to green, and then I moved downstairs and they were like, what color do you want the room? And I'm like, red. I want red.
Well, red makes the room go faster.
It does.
Room go burr.
I remember my parents we're trying to sell this house, and it was like a trailer, right? So it had basically a living room,
Okay.
and then a kitchen, and a living and sort of a sitting area, and these were connected with a big long hallway. So to get to the sitting room, you had to go down this big long hallway, and then there's just kind of opens up to the kitchen and this living room. And my dad goes out and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go get like a nice forest green to paint this living room." And he comes back and they paint it. It is a puke green. It is the most disgusting color. When the light bounces off of it, sometimes it looks slimy. When the light doesn't, it just looks mildewy. And my mom says, "You are banned from choosing paint colors. I am going to choose the color that we paint the hallway." She chose silly putty pink. The color of esophagus tissue.
Oh.
And the worst part was this wall had paneling, so it was like textured.
Oh.
So you have, walking into the living room, you go through this intestinal tract hallway into a puke-colored living room.
Oh.
Ooh, that's rough.
And it's a sort of, you would never paint that to like make the house more attractive, so everyone that came through thought we lived like that for 5 years.
It's nice that every single person that came in gave you the benefit of the doubt, being like, no, they wouldn't intentionally paint it this color. It must have come this way.
I remember we were moving into a new place, and I have 2 siblings, and it's the standard, like, okay, everybody go, find a room, claim it. And there was a really poorly built addition on this house. So you had to go, like, through a weird staircase, and there was access to a balcony, and these big, like, mirror-covered, like, wall-to-wall, like, what's the word for it? This is a very basic word that I'm forgetting. You put fucking clothes in it, but it's not a piece of furniture, it's just in the wall.
Oh, like a closet?
Yeah, wall-to-wall closets with mirror finishes, except one of them opened on both sides and went through to like an Italian grandma kitchen. Like there's a downstairs kitchen and an upstairs one.
Okay.
And I remember I was so confused because I called dibs so fast, and everyone else was like, "No, it's weird because there's those stairs to the kitchen, and I don't like those weird like mirrors and stuff." And so I was like, okay, and I moved into that room, and then, like, within a month, I started getting the snide comments, sort of like, it's nice that you have such a big room. Yeah, you have a really big room with, like, a view. I'm just sitting there like,
You dummies didn't think ahead.
So then, eventually they it's like an old house that has a big attic it was just like, the fucking posts and the roofs up there, but there's room to walk around. So they were like, let's reno this so it's at least like look-atable, put up some drywall, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have anything to put there. And they're like, I'm living in this shitty-looking addition that looks terrible from outside. And they go, well, we need to reno something. And I was like, all right, I'll move rooms. And then I went to the attic because nobody wanted to give up their room and move to the attic. My sister didn't want anything to do with it. And my other sister was like, it's big and it's scary in the attic and I don't like it. So I moved to the attic. And then within a month, comments being like, wow, it's so nice being in the attic and it's always warm up there, eh? And like, it's those windows on either side. It has a lot of character. I'm like, and then eventually I moved from that room to another one. I forget why. I think it's because by then I was at Western. I was going up and down the stairs a lot. And so, like, my parents heard that. So I went to, like, a less loud room. And that's where my sister went immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so weird, like, I don't know, like room shuffling with multiple siblings. Doing that growing up all the time. Like, you swap rooms because, your room's better than this one. I want this one.
Yep.
Is that something you guys did, or is that just...
I stole my sister's room, 100%. Like, the way the house was built, because my parents built their own house, was that the one room was meant to be like the workshop room, because my parents are very hands-on. So my dad wanted a place where he can work, and my mom wanted a place she could sew, and like all of this other stuff, and that was going to be the room. So my sister was born, went in my bedroom, and that was it. And then I was born, and so they needed a room. So they basically moved everything out of their workshop room and made it into my sister's bedroom, which was like obscenely big, because it was meant for a completely different purpose. And so naturally, the moment that my sister moved out to university, I instantly nabbed that room.
Yep. It was funny.
It's too tasty. You gotta snipe it.
You gotta. I moved rooms a lot.
Fantastic. I had an entire setup in there. I had like chairs and a TV, and like it was great.
Oh yeah. I had a room. I stayed in the same room in that. Like we just moved houses a lot, but I stayed in the room in that house in Ontario for a long time. But the big change happened when I got a new bed, because until about grade 7 or 8, I was sleeping on a tiny mattress with no bed frame that was on the ground and had become so sweat encrusted and old that there was like a big permanent divot where my body was.
Ew.
And
a body hole.
A body hole. So I basically just curl up there like a rat in a nest.
Your mattress looked like the mattress in Portal 2.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it. And it like great big stain on it. It was very nasty. I sweat a lot.
It's the butt groove from The Simpsons.
And I never thought about it until I had some friends over and they came to my room and they're like, "The fuck is that?" It's a bed. And they're like, "Oh no!"
Oh.
Anyway, then my parents got me like an actual like nice mattress bed. But the caveat was that room is now the guest room. So whenever anybody comes over, you're getting kicked to the couch, bucko. But that was okay. It was a nice bed.
I love people being like, "Oh, you're getting kicked to the couch." Whereas, like, if you're a teenager, it's almost like a vacation. It's like, "Hey, I can get kicked to the couch." It's not like when you're like an adult and you're like, "Oh, that's not good for my lumbar."
No, I can't do that. My back is really bad.
Fuck everyone. I have this as the guest bed, meant to be like whenever someone comes over, "Hey, I have a bed. You can sleep in it." Everyone sleeps on my fucking couch.
Yeah.
To be fair, you have a firm and supportive couch.
It's a fucking amazing couch, but that's not the point.
So, anyways, we should probably wrangle this. So, Vesta, you sort of like, you're in the depths of sleep. There's the vaguest veil of awakening, and you're just treading through it, and you open your eyes, and dolls are right in front of you. There's no fading anymore. You're fully awake in the doll room. It's morning.
Oh. Okay, I leave the room, like, immediately. Get all my stuff and leave.
So you're like, you lean down, you pack something up, and you look up, and it's one of those things where it's not like a magic thing, but like the way that you would in real life, you swear one of them is moved. And you look down, you pack up more of your things, and you go, "Was that one always wearing plaid?" And you pack up your things, and you back up, and you throw it over your back, and you, right as you're turning around to close the door, you peek, and they're all lined up, just like looking at you at the open door. And you close it, and you lock it, and you just...
Oh. Creepy. I go check on the horses, I guess.
Since when do you have 3 horses?
Since when do I have 3 horses? I say out loud.
I mean, one's not tied down.
Yeah, one of them's just there.
You gained a horse.
A horse.
What's
that?
Am I awake,
Morning,
Will?
Vesta.
Yeah, you're awake enough to respond to that.
Morning, Vesta. How'd you sleep in the doll room? Oh, when did we have 3 horses?
At that, I'm gonna shift back.
Reggie appears from the third horse.
Oh, man.
I nod. I should have really thought of that.
Did you sleep well standing up?
Standing up.
Horses lay down.
I laid on the grass.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they
I
put their
did.
legs down. They put their legs in.
I don't think they do.
Do they not?
Horses can sit down, yes.
I think the thing is that they can sit down and they lie down, but they sleep standing up. Or maybe this is just one of those things where, like, in the late 90s and early 2000s, people said it was a fact, and then nobody ever went on the internet decades later to go, is this even true?
Okay, so a horse can sleep lying down, but it is more emotionally and physically stressful for a horse than standing.
Well, I am not a horse, so...
My guess is if you're a horse on the plains and a lion comes to eat you, you want to be in a position to sprint.
Yeah.
Because that's all you can do.
But, like,
Yeah, because if you've ever seen a horse stand up, they're kind of like, oh shit, okay, I guess I'm standing up. Oh heck. And then they stand
Reggie is 100% like, he lied on his side, completely, like, splayed out like a dog would. And then him getting up was just as awkward as you described, Will.
Speaking of which, our dog is currently doing that.
Yeah.
So you get up, you dust yourself off. You guys have gathered the stuff you came to get.
Okay.
Okay, well,
I got all the newspaper clippings. Got all the stuff.
it looks like we're going to have to put together a bit of a file on the Redcoat Mining Company.
All right. You can do that.
All right, you guys pack up your things. You de-wedge the wagon from inside the shed. Once it's loose, you're able to get the horses on and start going on your merry way.
Our merry way.
Okay, well,
Heading back.
once we're out of earshot, I say, I don't like that town very much.
Why not?
Quiet. Everyone's too... what's... You know, the opposite of when people are just kind of ready to go and...
Relaxed.
So it's not energetic is the wrong word, but sort of ready to be energetic.
I believe slothful is the term.
Yes, I would go with
Relaxed.
slothful.
Relaxed.
No, relaxed is like when you're sort of, you see the danger in front of you and you're able to react to it.
No.
Is when I would say relaxed is. They're sort of pretending like there isn't any danger anywhere, which is blissfully ignorant, I guess, is what I would use. Anyway, freaks me out.
You guys have 2 days of presumably uneventful ride until you're back at the workshop with all this information. What are you doing in the meanwhile?
I am starting to put together everything I know about the Redcoat Mining Corporation.
I am reading through the newspaper as thoroughly as possible.
I am
Right.
making food.
So one of you has to be walking. Now that you've put all the stuff on, there's only room for the bench. So you guys end up having to swap, and so you lose a bit of time. Once you've made camp, Reggie, you grow some things out of the dirt. Meanwhile, while they were on the road, so Hennie was doing something, Vesta was doing something?
Yes. I was just trying to piece together everything I know about the Redcoat Mining Corporation.
I'm
Vesta?
reading newspapers.
All right, so you're poring over them in detail, trying to get like pieces of information that might have been skipped over. Meanwhile, Hennie, you're sort of like connecting dots. You're tying things back to things. What you remember is that you tracked down the party because the last known location was them being employees of this mine. Because they were employees, you found out that this mine was owned by Boru, whose name you have.
I also know that it has ties to, well, they were selling people to Celestials for consumption. And...
Do you have files that prove this?
We had those manacles, but I don't think we have them still.
No, those definitely would have been lost with the cart.
Yeah.
So, Hennie, you would know, being a cop from ages back, a detective, that even then, like, stuff like manacles and being like, oh, and we know we've done this, that's not what these people are looking for. They're looking for docs. They're looking for pieces of paper that say this person works this place. Would you have brought that casework with you all this way? Like, what would realistically have happened to your casework?
Blowed up on the boat. I wouldn't have carried it with me.
No backups, no copies, nothing back in the office?
She has her notebook. She has her notebook that's on her at all times, and that is filled with thoughts and scrawls and everything. So she has, like, records of it, but not the documents themselves.
All right, so you don't have the information to put the Redcoat file together yet. You'll probably have to do it once you're there. If you didn't have anything stored, you had no backups, and it would have blown up on the boat. If it is something you have, then you have nothing on the Redcoat Mining Company. You have 0 docs.
Like, the thing is, as much as I want to say, like, you know, Hennie would have kept stuff, she wouldn't have. She would have expected, like, she was not expecting the entire boat to explode while they were delivering lemons.
Where was she expecting to keep this? She doesn't have.
Also, this is the case from before you joined the party.
Yes.
Before you joined them.
Yes. So, like, it's safe to say that those things would have been gonzo. Like,
so the information just came out of nowhere, went to nowhere. There's nothing, no papers, no books, no paper trail at all.
No paper trail at all.
So then how did you find any information?
Well, I mean, I found information by looking at public records.
So wouldn't public records still exist?
Probably. So that's where we're gonna have to get something. I would imagine any company like that is gonna have receipts. And
Hennie, what's your mental score?
It is currently 9, sadly.
You remember that everything is available as long as they have the Redcoat Mining's company number. Once you do that, you remember that everything you need to find was actually available through the trade association documents.
Okay. So we'd have to pay a visit to the trade association headquarters.
Do they like us? Or do they not like us?
We are technically fugitives in the middle of an international calamity.
They don't really.
I would not describe it as a calamity. I would describe it as an incident. This is mostly related to you guys.
Like, I don't think they would be angry at us at all. I don't think they would be.
Reading through these newspapers, does it seem like the trade association is mad at us?
The trade association is in a lot of hot water. You've been looking over that article in particular. The trade association seemingly was under pressure for, like, debt extracting, like, money from these sailors. And as you read further, you see that they're building a class action suit, because apparently it isn't the first time that they've done this. There's currently people who are inquiring as to their documents, which means, if anything, you might not even have to go there. A well-placed letter might be what does it.
That's not a... Now, I'm going to talk out of my ass here a little bit. I've been watching a lot of that lawyer guy on YouTube, and he always says things about how depositions have to be made, like, publicly available.
And this would be such an incident. Public depositions, well, as public as they can be, you can go and get them from libraries that have transcribed them. And there would be a discovery process. This isn't a movie trial, this is a trial. They're going to go through all those documents.
Well, let's send some letters. Let's
get some letters together.
Let's get some letters together, send some letters. Let's get some squeaky on this wheel. And let's hope for that grease. That was a bad analogy.
So you've taken, as you've been looking through all these documents, making your way back to the warehouse, you've eventually creaked to a halt. You know that there's a lot of things that are going to need to be done. In terms of the letters, you need those to actually be somehow legally binding. There might be some sort of textbook, or maybe you could think of a way to word it so that you could get the information sent back to you or sent to your benefactors. Otherwise, what do you got? Suppose Hennie had a big cork board with a bunch of red yarn on it.
Yes.
What's on the cork board right now?
Absolutely sending letters to try and get some of this information. 100% Hennie wants to go to the source and do a bit of digging, like in person, because Hennie hates bureaucracy. As much as she loves it, now is not the time for it, you know? Like, so that's kind of what Hennie wants to do. Hennie's thinking about because you guys were indentured servitudes. I could I could act as your lawyer and start trying to file some stuff. That would be a legal reason to get these documents. If it's a class action lawsuit, we could sign you guys up. Now, you are wanted in a lot of places, so that might be an issue.
So there's a bunch of papers around, and Reggie, you can read, right?
Yeah.
Considering you're a writer?
Yeah.
Would you have, at some point, gotten bored and pored over them a little bit?
Maybe just to, help out. There's not really much going on that Reggie can really do. He's done the foresty stuff, he's spoke to the horses, made sure they're all good, and then just kind of went eh.
So you've been reading through this, just trying to get up to speed. You're not going in depth like everyone else. You just, you took the major international incident, big opener paper, and you've been pouring through it. You get to the end of it, and you kind of go, and go back to the start. You read it a second time, and it suddenly starts to dawn on you. So that whole thing back at the island, they haven't identified who you are. Reggie isn't necessarily the book smarty type, but he's a clever dude. Why haven't they mentioned who you are? As you read through, they also are being shady as to what this Westwatch-related task force is, which means there's probably a reason they're being quiet.
Well, I mean, they can't just come out and...
But, I mean, we're wanted fugitives. It doesn't matter if they say our names. We're wanted. It'll just be, those terrorists again.
So at this point, you guys are unloading things. You've set aside a desk to put down this stuff. And as you're saying, why would they want us? We're fugitives, and you plonk them down. One of the newspaper clippings comes up, and it's from when you were tried. And Vesta, your eyes go wide. Tried for the murder of Boru, among others. Do you guys remember that? Way early in the campaign, it was in a barn. There were a bunch of life drinkers.
Right, we did actually get tried for the murder of Boru, and now Boru's coming back as a disfigured.
But Boru is not dead.
Yeah.
So who'd you kill? So what's your case?
So we didn't kill anybody. I didn't murder anybody.
So
he's still alive.
So the options are: let us basically admit that we committed no crime, or admit that Boru came back to life, which they can't do.
So that's why they're not printing.
We'll just say that the Boru didn't die. I was tried.
Well, that
so
could
all
be
we
why they don't
have
want to print the names, because they don't want to draw a connection. If they say, hey, Vesta, the person who has now deformed Boru, some people might go, hey, wait a minute.
So all we have to
draw the connection between that.
So we are the connection. We are the thing that connects Boru, the murdered Boru, to this new disfigured Boru. So all we have to do is legally prove that murdered Boru is the same as disfigured Boru.
And why is Boru coming after you?
Because we killed murdered Boru.
Killed.
I didn't. You guys did kill him. In the sense that decapitation was murder.
You guys also started
murder ending the life of a person. We did not end his life.
You also started a riot in one of his mines.
Yeah.
Can they prove that was us? I don't think so.
Yeah, but he knows.
Yeah, but They don't. So
it looks to me like the thing that's been holding us back this whole time is that we have been looking at Boru as one person, when legally he isn't.
Yeah.
Legally, he's supposed to be 3 different people. There's murdered Boru, disfigured Boru, and I don't know a good name for the inconvenienced Boru, I suppose.
An inconvenient Boru.
Inconvenienced Boru.
So all we have to do is prove
that they're the same person.
That they're the same person, and what links all of them together is this Redcoat mining business. That links... Redcoat mining links us to inconvenienced Boru. The trial links to murdered Boru. And this incident links to disfigured Boru. Because, now, the incident links us because Boru wouldn't have a reason to commandeer an army, basically starting war. Oh, it's all coming together. Okay.
So Hennie's sort of saying all this stuff as she's like prepping the board, tacking things up, going, oh, it's all coming together, and this. And like there's yarn strings going, tapping into the thing. There's disfigured Boru, and there's a picture from the newspaper of the big sort of spatch of purple from the wilding salt that Vesta threw, and murdered Boru, and you put up the one whose murder you are wanted for. All right, and you take out a few different ones. Like, there's a few that are really shady, like, early he used these for a few cons names, and then there's another Boru that's been his primary identity. You start getting these red yarn things together, you're tying. Looks like it's all coming together. That being said, it's going to take time for deliveries to come, it's going to take time for messages to send. So, before we end the session there, on an out-of-game level, are you guys going to be trying to find any documents that I should have? Not like literal documents, but like it exists in the game documents that you're looking for. Is there any information in your web that is missing?
Well, we don't have any physical documents right now.
We don't have... No, but what I'm thinking is proof of employment to prove that Vesta and the rest were at the mine. I'm sure there was some sort of internal investigation into the death of... Oh, what was that fucker's name? Was it Tammy? Tammy.
Yeah.
And that would put the riots on us. The trial, definitely. We're going to need everything we can get from that trial. Now... And obviously we want some outside news on the incident. Now, the thing is, I feel like Boru is an idiot. Or at least he's new to this whole immortality thing, and he's not thinking big picture. The rest of them, they want us gone purely for the fact that they've been silencing people forever. For him, it's personal. And I think Boru would stop at nothing to prove that we, in fact, did murder him. So I feel like if we can get this case rolling, we might not have to do all that much because he may not realize what he's doing if he tries to defend against what we're saying. My hope is that if we can start getting some of these threads pointing towards him, like if our angle is Vesta, Leland, and the late Salas should be unbanned from these areas because Boru isn't dead. He might be stupid enough to fight that. And that would give us more proof than we could ever gather on our own.
Maybe.
If we can get him angry enough.
To try to prove that he's, in fact, dead?
Still alive. Yeah, because we can prove that he's still alive, right?
Well, yeah, his existence proves he's still alive.
We have to prove that the person that is still alive, disfigured Boru, is the Boru that we murdered.
And if we can get him to prove that he was once decapitated, if we can get him to bring that to light in a legal sense, that would blow the cover off of everything. If in a court, a reputable businessman, well, not reputable, but a businessman legally bindingly said, I was once decapitated.
So, based on information that you guys have from reading through these files, from what you already picked up pages back in the campaign, you are aware that the Boru who is positively identified as, like, this person we, like, know in some sort of media context has been hit with wilding salt. That Boru is known to be weapons dealer Boru, who dates back to the war.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to prove that weapons dealer Boru
and beheaded Boru are the same.
Are the same person.
Now, there are paper trails, I am sure, I'm going to put dotted lines here on my little sketch, that will connect all three of these Borus. Because he has to be transferring assets. You know, like you don't start with nothing and get to where he is in a matter of days. When that mining company fell apart, I can almost guarantee that there was some mysterious Boru-shaped buyer snapping up stuff at a discount.
As you say, Boru-shaped buyer, you're getting all these things out, and you tack another bit of newspaper, and this one, as it happens, it's next to the one where you killed Boru, and it's from someone else you decapitated at the time. I believe you cut off Kree's head too, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When you take this other article out that you place next to this one is about how the Redcoat Mining Company was stripped for assets by something called Chickadee Strategy.
Right.
I might also need to prove that I didn't kill Kree.
Well, that should be easy because, I mean, in the transcript, they would name names and their profession, right? Like, respectable businessman of such and such company, Boru.
I just need to prove that Kree is still alive. From Chickadee Companies.
Right. Kree is smart. Kree isn't stupid enough to go right back out into the public so quick. You know, Boru loves attention. He loves being the smartest one in the room.
Yeah.
He's been flashing his face. He showed up with a whole army and gloated, and that gave us a time to get away. Kree just came to kill us, and it was only because we beat the shit out of his forces that we survived. I think that proving
and then I threw wildling salt in his face.
I feel like we're going to have a harder time with Kree, but I'm hoping that Boru might give up some information that would incriminate his friend too. I feel like we gotta, and it's tricky because we are wanted, but if we could put the screws on this guy, we could put the screws on this fucker. Really get into his head.
Technically, I'm exiled.
Well, no, you were exiled, and then you killed an entrepreneur. So,
no, Mila did. That wasn't Vesta. Vesta wasn't involved.
Right.
Mila killed the entrepreneur.
Okay.
I think actually they don't have any of your identities, like your real ones from that murder.
Yeah, I think I went by Reg. No one would be able to piece it together.
You weren't wearing an ostentatious blue hat. They have no idea.
Yeah. Clark Kent style. I'm wearing my glasses now.
I want so badly for Reggie to go back to his parents and be like, I did the proving, and I'm, I want to learn from you. And then Reggie's dad is like, were you wearing the fucking hat while you did it? Doesn't count.
No, Dad, I was not wearing the fucking hat.
Anyways, we'll see you guys in a little while. Hopefully next game. I was going to say hopefully next game we should get some answers, but you're going to get more questions. If you guys want to check that out, we're going to be back later half of Thursdays. Later half. What's my line? I have a line.
On the later half of
you were a
7,
loved one that's been affected.
On Thursdays, but the later half of 7 is when we do Bloodwine.
There we go. It's the diplomatic term for we're always late, so we're just scheduling in lightness. Later half of 7 on Thursdays, twitch.tv/Mr. Croden. We're here at youtube.com/Mr. Croden if you want to watch these as they get posted, or in the future, indefinitely. And if you want to play this game itself, there's some rules available, some playtest rules at bloodwine.fandom.com. I believe on Saturday, There is some regular man action with Greg Bailey.
Yes, we are going to be continuing the regular man run of Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, so because I feel like that is the best way of saying it. It isn't even a run, it's just a thing we're doing.
Yeah.
We're playing the hardest of modes with the weakest of characters with the lowest of luck scores. And anything other than pacifism is nigh impossible, and so far it's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it, even though I'm not the one actively playing. It's been an enjoyable thing to experience.
I mean, let's be real, Fallout is like 70% environmental storytelling. You don't need to have a controller there for that.
No, definitely not.
Time favorite of mine. Any other stream thing?
Nothing coming up until Saturday. Monday, of course, is always Dragon Age. Dragon Age 2, which... Dragon Age 2 is better than Dragon Age Origins. Fight me.
I'm not going to fight you until you've finished the game.
Fair
because
enough.
You're still in Act 1.
Fair enough.
Ooh. Shots fired.
So yeah, tune in for that. And if you would like to yell at us for anything, feel free to join our Discord. Links are down below in pretty much everything that we do. So, farewell.
I have been Will. I have needed sleep. Goodbye.
Fallout 4 is the best Fallout.